I grew up in a small village where poverty was like a second skin for most of us. Life was already hard, but when I was 7 years old, it became unbearable. My parents died in a car accident, and I was left all alone in this world. No siblings, no relatives who cared enough to take me in. I became an orphan overnight, and my whole world crumbled. At first, I thought someone would come to save me, maybe a kind neighbor or a distant relative, but no one did. I remember the first night after the funeral. I sat on the cold floor of our tiny house, hugging my knees, trying to make sense of what had happened. I was so scared, so lost. But deep down, I told myself that I wouldn't give up. I didn't know how, but I believed that if I worked hard, one day life would get better. The next few years were a blur of survival. I worked wherever I could, cleaning fields, washing dishes, carrying heavy sacks at the market. People barely paid me, but I took whatever they gave. I often went to bed hungry, with my stomach growling and my heart aching for the family I'd lost. I slept on the floor of an abandoned shed, wrapping myself in old rags to keep warm. There were days I wanted to give up, days when I looked at the happy families around me and felt the crushing weight of loneliness. But then I'd remember what my mom always used to say, life is hard, but you're stronger than you think. Don't ever stop believing in yourself. Her voice became my strength, the light that kept me going when everything else felt dark. At 14, I saved up enough to buy a second-hand bicycle. It wasn't much, but it made life easier. I started delivering goods for shopkeepers and saved every coin I earned. At 18, I moved to the city, where I worked as a cleaner during the day and studied at night. I'd sit under streetlights with my books because I couldn't afford electricity in the tiny room I rented. People laughed at me, called me foolish for dreaming of a better life, but I ignored them. I knew where I wanted to go. It wasn't easy. There were countless nights I cried myself to sleep, wondering if all the effort was worth it. But each morning, I'd wake up, wipe my tears, and push forward. Slowly, things started to change. I finished school and got a job as an office assistant. It wasn't much, but it was a start. From there, I climbed my way up. I worked harder than anyone else, always learning, always improving. By the time I was 30, I had started my own small business. It grew little by little, and eventually it became something I never imagined. A successful company that gave jobs to people who had struggled like I had. I finally had enough to live comfortably, but more importantly, I had enough to give back. Now, I'm in my 40s, and I use my success to help kids like me, orphans who feel like the world has abandoned them. Every time I see a child smile because they've been given a chance, I feel like I'm giving that little boy I used to be the love and hope he never had. Life didn't come easy for me. I started with nothing, but I never let that define me. Hard work, belief, and resilience can move mountains. If you're reading this and you're struggling, just remember, it's okay to cry, it's okay to feel lost, but don't ever stop believing in yourself. You're stronger than you think, and better days will come.